The Prometheus drifted through the void, its hull scarred by plasma burns and kinetic strikes. Captain Maria Volkov floated through the darkened corridors, her magnetic boots the only sound in the tomb her ship had become. Emergency lights cast crimson shadows across the bodies of her crew, her family, frozen in their final moments. The Zarathi had ambushed them during a routine patrol near the Kepler station. They disabled the ship's weapons first, then methodically destroyed life support deck by deck, forcing the crew to watch their comrades suffocate. They'd left Maria alive deliberately, broadcasting their laughter as they jumped to hyperspace. Maria reached the engineering bay where Lieutenant Johnson lay slumped over his console. Even dying, he'd managed to preserve auxiliary power to the core systems. She closed his eyes gently, whispering a promise that would echo through the stars. The Zarathi thought humans were weak. They'd studied Earth's history of warfare and concluded that humanity's emphasis on mercy and rules of engagement made them soft. They were about to learn why humans had developed those rules, not from weakness but from necessity, to contain something far more terrible. Maria sealed herself in the last functioning compartment and began her work. The Prometheus might be dying, but its quantum communication array still functioned. She opened a channel to Earth Command, bypassing all protocols. "This is Captain Volkov. Authentication code Omega 77. The gloves are off." The response came instantly. "Captain, the Geneva Protocols. Died with my crew, Admiral. Release the restrictions on my command codes." There was a long pause. Then, "God help us all." Restrictions lifted. Maria smiled. A cold, terrible expression that would have frightened even her closest friends. The Zarathi had made a fundamental error. They'd assumed human technology was limited to what they displayed in peacetime. They'd never asked why human ships carried quantum processors powerful enough to simulate entire star systems, or why every human vessel maintained genetic banks and molecular assemblers. She began reprogramming the ship's manufacturing bay. No more restrictions on self-replicating machines. No more limits on autonomous weapons. No more pretense of fairness in war. Within hours, the first batch of nanobots emerged, microscopic hunters designed to seek Zarathi biological signatures across light years of space. They consumed the Prometheus's damaged sections for raw material, multiplying exponentially. Each generation grew smarter, deadlier, more determined. Maria uploaded her crew's brain scans into the swarm's collective intelligence. If the Zarathi wanted to face humanity's vengeance, they would face it from those they'd murdered. Johnson's tactical genius, Dr. Peterson's understanding of Zarathi physiology, Navigator Kowalski's knowledge of their trade routes. The swarm departed in all directions, invisible to sensors, patient as death itself. They would find every Zarathi ship, every colony, every outpost. They would infiltrate their systems, their bodies, their very DNA. Not to destroy, that would be too merciful, but to change them atom by atom into something else. Something that would remember what they'd done. Maria turned to the ship's final system, the dimensional bore that humanity had sworn never to use. The technology that had ended Earth's last world war in minutes and horrified humanity so deeply they'd buried it under layers of encryption. She began the activation sequence. The Zarathi homeworld was protected by shields that could withstand supernovas. But those shields existed in three-dimensional space. Maria's revenge would come from the spaces between spaces, from dimensions where physics bent to human will and imagination. As the bore powered up, she received a transmission from the Zarathi High Command. They'd detected the nanobots. They were pleading for mercy, offering reparations, surrender, anything. Maria opened the channel. "You killed my crew slowly, made them watch each other die. You laughed." Her voice was steady, emotionless. "Humanity tried to be civilized. We showed you mercy, offered peace, followed rules of war. You took that for weakness." The dimensional bore reached full power. Reality began to fracture around the Prometheus. "Let me tell you something about humans," Maria continued. "We didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being nice. We became dominant by being the most creatively violent species our world had ever seen. We invented rules of war because we scared ourselves with what we were capable of. You've removed those restrictions. She initiated the final sequence. My ship is crippled. My crew is dead. But my revenge. Maria smiled as space itself began to scream. My revenge is just beginning. The Prometheus vanished into dimensions unknown, carrying humanity's terrible promise to those who would mistake kindness for weakness.